Would they really trade the Finals MVP for a rookie pick, or is there a deeper agenda in motion? The San Antonio Spurs are sitting on a ticking time bomb, and the fuse might be lit by Brad Stevens, while the headlines scream about Kevin Durant's desire to play with Victor Wembanyama. The real shock is coming from Boston, and it involves a name that should never be on the trade block, Jaylen Brown. But here's the catch: someone, somewhere inside the Celtics organization isn't just listening to offers. They might be preparing to initiate them, according to Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated. The Spurs are ready to offer the no to pick in the 2025 NBA draft, not for Durant, not for a future lottery ticket, but for Jaylen Brown, fresh off leading Boston to a championship and playing arguably the most complete two-way basketball of his career. Why would Boston even consider this? What aren't they telling us? That's the curiosity gap burning under the surface. On paper, Brown is in his prime, just 28, under contract, and a cornerstone of a franchise that just won it all. But this isn't about what's on paper. This is about what Boston fears behind the scenes. Let's start with the obvious non-obvious. Brown played 63 games last season, but did it with a partially torn meniscus in his right knee. That's not a stat, that's a red flag, especially for a franchise staring down $300 plus million in committed salary over the next 4 years. With Jason Tatum's extension kicking in, every dollar, every medical report, and every whisper of long-term durability is now under the microscope. And what if the Celtics don't believe this duo can last physically into 2028? Then flipping Brown for a cost-controlled rookie like Dylan Harper or someone with even more upside becomes less of a betrayal and more of a preemptive strike, one that buys Boston time, resets the cap, and extends the Tatum window without committing to a potentially compromised co-star. But that raises a darker question no one wants to say out loud. Is Jaylen Brown's knee a ticking time bomb the Celtics are trying to offload before it explodes? San Antonio, meanwhile, has zero incentive to panic. Wembanyama is just getting started. The Spurs have time, they have assets, and they know that landing a two-way all-star wing with championship pedigree could launch them out of the rebuild phase instantly. KD might be flashier, but Jaylen is younger, healthier for now, and far more aligned with the Spurs timeline. And Popovich doesn't just want to win. He wants a system that can evolve around Wemby. But if this is such a smart deal for San Antonio, why wouldn't Boston slam the door immediately? Because the door isn't closed. And that should terrify Celtics fans, whether the trade happens or not. The simple fact that Brown's name is being floated, even hypothetically, after raising a banner, speaks volumes about Boston's internal calculus. It's not about loyalty. It's not about rewarding performance. It's about ruthless, cold projections of who will still be standing when the next title window opens in 2027. The prospect that's breaking the statistical model and could become the next Luka or Zion. But why would a team built to win now risk its future on this? The 2025 NBA draft hasn't even happened yet, and G-Miz from title contenders are already sweating. Because one prospect isn't just topping every ranking. He's doing something that not even Zion Williamson or Luka Doncic managed in their draft years. He shows zero statistical weaknesses in any major category. The name, Cooper Flag, the likely destination, a team that should never have landed the no. One pick, the Dallas Mavericks. And that combination? It might just tear apart the league's logic. But why would a team like Dallas bet on a teenager instead of trading for a proven piece to chase the title? That's the question nobody can answer with confidence. The Mavs just reached the NBA Finals, endured the emotional and physical roller coaster of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, and still walked away with the top pick. That alone is wild. But choosing Flag, a Duke freshman, could completely rewrite how contenders build their rosters. So is Flag really that good? Or are we looking at another out-of-control hype train? Spoiler, it's not hype. According to the same advanced model that previously identified hidden gems like Tyrese Halliburton, Isaiah Joe, and Jalen Williams, Cooper Flag has the third highest impact projection since 2005, behind only Zion Williamson and Luka Doncic. Not even Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, or Victor Wembanyama came close to that level of statistical consistency. And here's the kicker. Flag doesn't fall below average in any area of the game. Across 10 key metrics, combining offense, defense, efficiency, per minute impact, age, and level of competition, he ranks above average in every single one. If you're a college hype skeptic, this is the kind of prospect where the numbers scream louder than the headlines. But if the numbers are that strong, why is there still doubt? Why do scouts still whisper about risk? Because this scenario is unprecedented. Never before has a team this close to a title had the chance to draft a generational talent with this kind of profile. It's a collision between urgency and potential, forcing Dallas to ask a brutal question. Do they want to win with Luka and Kyrie, or win after Luka and Kyrie? And there's more. Dallas's current structure doesn't guarantee that Doncic stays. Long-term, drafting Flag could be the ultimate power play. A way to keep Luka engaged, or a safety net to rebuild if he walks. That changes everything about how we view this one pick. It's not just about Flag's talent. It's about what this decision reveals about what's really going on inside the Mavericks front office. Celtics could move on from Jrue Holiday, and the interest is coming from the West. But why would Brad Stevens consider this now? And what does Dallas know that the rest of the league doesn't? The celebration over Banner 18 has barely faded in Boston, and tension is already simmering behind the scenes, but this time, it's not about Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or a blockbuster involving Porzingis. The new focus, Jrue Holiday. And the question nobody in Boston wants to ask is now in the air. Is he really available? Dallas smells something, and it's no coincidence. According to Jay King and Christian Clark of The Athletic, league sources have begun speculating about a scenario that would have sounded absurd just months ago. Jrue Holiday could be headed to the Mavericks, with Kyrie Irving out indefinitely and Luka Doncic riding an emotional and physical roller coaster. Dallas seems ready to do whatever it takes to rebuild its leadership core, even if that means knocking on Boston's door. But what's really behind this move, and why now? Because Boston's financial future has turned into a ticking time bomb. With the second apron looming like a freight train, the Celtics are staring down the need to cut between $18 and $22 million just to avoid crippling restrictions in the next cycle. And we're not talking about trimming the bench. Jrue Holiday, as essential as he's been on the court and in the locker room, is about to turn 35 and is carrying a $100 million contract, including a $37 million player option in 2027 to 28. Around the league, that number is starting to feel like dead weight for a franchise trying to keep Tatum and Brown in their prime through 2030. And it doesn't stop there. Porzingis is on the trade block. Horford and Cornet are free agents. Boston's entire front court is on the edge of collapse. That's where Dallas spots an opening. Players like P.J. Washington or Daniel Gafford, both on expiring contracts, could offer Boston what it lacks most: cap space, flexibility, youth, and breathing room. But a straight-up deal with Dallas might not be enough. A third team could get involved. And suddenly, the situation morphs into a complex financial chessboard, with Brad Stevens moving pieces with a cold precision that few expected so soon after a championship. What if this isn't just due diligence? What if Dallas knows something the public doesn't about Kyrie's health? What if Holiday's relationship with the Celtics project is already quietly fraying? Because here's the reality. Holiday hasn't officially been put on the market, but he's not off limits either, and that gray zone is where the real fire lives. This isn't about today. It's about the years ahead. It's about what Boston will choose to prioritize over the next 3 seasons. Hold on to an aging core at all costs, or reset and breathe before the salary cap turns into a prison.